I think for a blaxploitation film, it's a pretty solid plot.
For a blaxploitation film, this is Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that you're talking about, running a scam on people.
Right.
And
the double crosses. And,
so
the details. Somebody's wearing a jacket that looks like this person's jacket. I said, okay, hold on, it's all right.
Yeah. I mean, the plot is there. Right. The plot is there that if...
Then Robert Hooks comes in and wants to know where the NAACP dinner is this evening. Hey, baby, let's hit this town. Let's get out of this town.
And you don't even... Oh, God.
It's like, Mr. Hooks.
You just don't believe it, man. Like,
why are you doing this?
YUNKJunk!
Welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner.
Hey, holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble.
And here we are in the 3rd week of what has become Action August. And we continue our journey with pulse-pounding action with a film that is way more well-known for its soundtrack. 1972's Trouble Man, starring Robert Hooks as the title character, Trouble Man, or Mr. T, also featuring, among others, Julius Harris and Paula Kelly.
Ooh, Leggy
Peggy herself. And this was the choice of Lynn Webb. And of course, it features a soundtrack by the iconic Marvin Gaye.
Ooh.
But before we get into Trouble Man and Marvin Gaye and whether or not Peggy is indeed Leggy, how are you, Lynn?
Oh, I'm fine, Vincent. How are you?
Good to hear. I myself am doing well.
That is very good. Mm-hmm. Shout out to each and every one of you out there watching as we are streaming live from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace here in the lovely town of Manayunk. We are streaming to Instagram. We are streaming to X. We are streaming to Facebook in our Facebook group. And as always, we are streaming to our video home on YouTube. To all of the missionaries out there in the chat. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
We're going to get right into the show. Right. We're going to be reviewing Trouble Man. We've got emails. We've got top 5. We've got what happened in 1972. We got 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. But first, Vincent has asked me to carve out a little bit of time at the top of the show.
Just a little bit of time.
A little bit.
Got a lot to do.
A little bit. And this must be special because Vincent is not about free advertising.
And I'm about to free advertise up the wazoo because yesterday marked the streaming debut of a series that those of us who are fans of classic television and specifically of the television show The Wire have been waiting for years. And that is the complete series, Homicide: Life on the Streets. Which began streaming yesterday on Peacock. And this is a show that, for a lot of reasons, I mean, the usual reasons, actually, like I think it was music licensing.
Yes, it was about the music licensing.
That did not stream. And again, referencing The Wire, a lot of the team from The Wire got their start with Homicide.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us who watched Homicide have talked about it, and some of the great actors that were on there came through came through the doors of Homicide, and it began streaming. And part of the reason I wanted to talk about it so much is because I rewatched the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
And this is television I haven't seen, like, was it ever in syndication?
No.
Right. So literally, I watched these episodes that I haven't seen since they were first on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked by how well it holds up.
Well, give the people the 30-second pitch on the show.
Homicide: Life on the Street is a police procedural set in the homicide department in the Baltimore City Police Department in the mid to late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And that is sort of the pitch, but the sheer quality of it is what elevated it to this legendary status. And like a lot of these shows, it's funny, there's been a lot of nerd rumbling over the past few hours because The Acolyte got canceled.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's been some rumbling about how shows never get a chance to find their footing like they used to. Like infamously, if you ever watch the first 4 or 5 episodes of Seinfeld, it's like a whole different thing. So the sort of conventional wisdom is that when you watch older shows, the early episodes aren't really all there yet. And I was amazed and impressed by how fully formed Homicide is. Yeah. From the very first episode. Like we were talking a little bit, just the cast. I mean, you know, many people, when they think about Homicide, I think it's fair to say the real breakout was Andre Braugher.
This is the show that really put him on the map.
That really introduced Andre Braugher. But Ned Beatty is here. Melissa Leo is here. Richard Belzer is here.
Yaphet Kotto is here.
And from the very first episode, Clark Johnson.
John Polito. They are crackling. Right out the box.
The script is razor sharp. All of the elements of the show that we talk about, you know, there are certain cases, there are certain plot aspects, like they talk about the box. They call the room where they interrogate people the box. All of that is in the first episode. Yep. And it is so well done. I was saying I watched the first 3 episodes, me and my wife, and just had to go to bed. It's like you just can't. And
yeah, because it's deep. It's a deep show. Deep, it's intense. It's dense.
But it is absurd. It is serious. It is thoughtful. There's a level of philosophical and existential musing that runs through it.
Yes,
like it really pays it a disservice to call it a procedural.
Well, and you know, I was waiting because I actually think that's really not what it is. I mean, does it get into the minutia of police work? It does. But I actually think it is, and rightfully so, it is the continued maturing of the police cop show that you saw starting in the 80s with Hill Street Blues.
Sure.
Which is just, you know, life in this precinct and all of the goings on. Everybody's trying to solve these cases, but they've also got their personal life that they're dealing with. And some of the more melodramatic cop shows of this time, such as NYPD Blue.
Sure, which was a much more
popular show. Yeah. Right. And that's because while it delved into the life of its cops, it's a lot more sensationalized.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This is very by the numbers.
And
man.
very thoughtful.
Very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Very, like you said, I like you using the word existentialism because there is a level of that which actually makes sense in police work.
And certainly in a homicide.
Exactly.
Right.
Because, and like you said, if you are a fan of The Wire, you see like in the Wire is all about, you know, it's all the systems. So it's the cops, it's the drug dealers, it's government and everything like that. But there's also a small little unit there that is the homicide division in The Wire.
Right.
And you see the special kind of guys you got to be there. Yeah. Right. You know, like because Andre Braugher's Pimpleton in Homicide: Life on the Streets is the other side of the coin of either take your pick, McNulty or bunk
Right.
on The Wire.
Right.
He's just the other side of the coin of that, you know?
Right.
And it is so freaking excellent. And also, I'm going to give a shout out because you named all of these great actors. They're all fantastic, doing great work. But another standout on this show is Kyle Secor as Bayless, who kind of like becomes kind of like
he's like our POV
as the rookie into the homicide division, and he right from the jump, he's a rookie, but he's not like just some bumbling rookie. Like murder it wears on him as something like this would, especially when he picks up his first one, and it's a heart-wrenching case that he picks up when you check it out. If you haven't checked it out, ladies and gentlemen, or for a minute, but he still is a cop. He still knows what he's doing. Right, you know what I mean? He's got to get his sea legs under him. It's so good.
To pull from The Wire, these are all real police. Like, you have all these different personalities, but you understand why these men and women are, as they say, murder police.
Yes.
Like these are the brains.
Yeah.
And this is one of the only shows where you had a cast where, each it's like a police show like this. You have the partners, everybody has a case, and you kind of oscillate between the different.
Yep.
I love every single pairing.
Me too.
On the show. Like there's never a moment where they're focused on one partnership where I think, oh, I wish they were.
Yeah, there's no time off.
Right.
There's no time off. It's excellent. It's excellent.
So
show.
To complete Lynn's joke about me and free advertising, it is on Peacock. I think it's worth getting Peacock, and I don't say that often about anything. It is 7 seasons and a movie for a lot of different reasons. We talk about the quality of especially like the last 2 seasons, because as we said, it was never
a hit.
It was never a hit. Like, it was always it
was a critical darling.
It was a critical. I was about to say, and part of the reason people who love Homicide are so passionate about it is because every year we thought it was going to get canceled.
Yep.
And the last 2 seasons, they kind of had an ultimatum. They had to change things up. But the first 5 are gold. And the first 2 or 3 seasons are platinum.
I see Lisa Alexander in the chat is hyping up for a couple of the guest stars that appear on this show. James Earl Jones, Jeffrey Wright, Alfred Woodard. Doesn't Robin Williams show up on there?
Robin Williams shows up. You and I talked about it. It's not really a sport. Like I was joking with Lynn about just the intensity of the quality. The 5th, maybe 6th episode is an episode called 3 Men in a Box that guest stars Moses Gunn. And it is insane to me that this is like within the first 6 or 7 episodes, because Homicide is like, okay, you've watched us for a month. You like us. Glad you're around. Now you're about to see the greatest hour of television you've ever seen in your entire life. One of the best one-act plays you've ever seen. Because 3 Men in a Box.
Oh my God. It is so good.
Is breathtaking.
Yes. And I love the idea of being able to watch it on Peacock without any commercials. And it just like you said, watching it as a one-act play.
Here's the thing. Watching the 3 episodes I watched, I missed the commercials.
Because
I needed to kind of catch my breath a little bit. Like it kind of fades to black, and then it comes right back, and it's like, oh my goodness. Oh, so good.
Yeah, so check out
Homicide: Life on the Street.
On Peacock.
And we are not being paid for that.
No, we are not.
Although Peacock, it'd be nice.
Y'all getting the NBA, so I play ball. Anyway. All right, let's get into the show, which means we are going to hear from you, missionaries, with your emails, or as we like to call them,
Missives from the Missionaries.
So what else is going on, Lynn?
We have
I did.
emails. Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Missives from the missionaries.
Our first email, Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Amina 2.
Hey, Amina.
Or she says, we can call her Amina for short.
Hey, Amina.
I am writing to you from the glorious and gentrified neighborhood of Harlem. I wanted to introduce myself as one of the newer missionaries.
Hey, Amina.
I started listening to the podcast earlier this year in May. My first episode was your review on Kathleen Collins' Losing Ground. I enjoyed your analysis and review on the film, although I did disagree with some of Len's takes.
Okay.
Well, you are now officially a missionary. Ever since then, I have been down a rabbit hole listening to episodes on films I've already watched or plan to watch. I appreciate that you two have created a genuine space to talk not only about Black films, but Black culture as well. I especially love hearing your insights on TV shows, films, music, and cultural moments during my favorite era of Blackness, the 90s.
Oh, well, Amina, I hope you're watching Homicide, Life on the Street.
I am 27 years old, so it's not a decade I remember much from. I am jealous of those who lived through such a lively time to be Black. I do wonder, what are your thoughts on the current state of Black Hollywood today compared to the 90s? Also, who would be your ideal rom-com couple using Black actors from this generation? Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say that as far as the current state of Black Hollywood, I feel very enthused about Black Hollywood right now for a number of reasons. One, because streaming has opened up so many other avenues through which creatives can get their work out to the populace right now. Right before, you basically was the movie studios or the 3 networks on television.
Right, absolutely.
And then maybe if you were lucky, you can get a cable station to. But now you've got Netflix, you got Amazon, you've got Peacock, you've got Apple TV, and not for nothing, you've got YouTube.
You've got YouTube.
So you can get, if you really work it, and also it should also be noted that the democratization of creating this stuff is exploded filmmakers, because now you can make a movie on your phone. People make movies on their phones. So I think I'm enthused by that. Because of that, more and more Black creatives have the opportunity to get their voices out there. So that's why I am, and the more Black creatives you have behind the scenes, behind the cameras, writing the words, then the more Black creatives you will see before the camera, as far as your actors and your performers, and them finding a way to shine out there. Now, it's not the way that it was back in the day as far as the pay, because things have changed a little bit. The pay structure has changed. So it's harder to, get that series that's just going to make you whole. That's why I shout out to Quinta Brunson. She know what she got. Make it work. But you can get your voice out there. So I actually feel excited for the creators.
Every single solitary thing you just said. And I would add that what I am beginning to be excited about, and, shout out to my daughter and the young people in my life. I feel like in the next 5 years, there is a generation of creators that are doing some really interesting things with TikTok, and you know, even Instagram and you know, just these very short, quick formats. But you can see they're honing their craft, and there are a few that are creating longer and longer. So I also like the fact that we are in this moment where, again, not only do we have the access because of everything that you just said, but there are now even new tools that you can use to create a narrative. So I'm also very excited.
Yeah, most definitely.
Rom-com couple.
From using Black actors from this generation.
Who do I like rom-com? How old are we talking this generation?
Let's say you're talking your 24 to 40s.
Okay, so is Lakeith Stanfield still in play?
I believe so.
Okay, because I think he's funny.
Yes.
I think he is physical. I think he is able to be a leading man, and I think we've seen hints of it here and there from him. So he would be my choice. And then who
you gonna pair him with?
I would pair him with, and I don't know if this is age appropriate because I think she might be significantly younger than him, but I really like Coco Jones.
Okay.
Like I really like that young lady.
Yeah. That's nothing wrong with Coco Jones. I'm curious of how old Coco Jones is. Coco Jones she's 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lakeith Stanfield is like 40.
Is he?
Maybe.
I mean, he's been.
Am I making up things?
I guess he's been around longer than I think.
I'm just pulling numbers out the sky.
He's 33.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm loud and wrong, which is the greatest way to be wrong. Everyone, listen to me. I'm about to say something wrong.
Might not be age appropriate. Lakeith Stanfield being 64.
You know, I believe Lakeith Stanfield was part of the civil rights movement. I think you might see him in the pool scene in the film that we're watching this evening.
I believe he was in the original Birth of a Nation.
Well, there you go.
He was the stunt Negro.
Right. Stunt Negro. Was that Jim Brown or Bill Cosby that had the first black stuntman?
It was Bill Cosby.
Was it on I Spy?
Yes.
I bet they called him the stunt Negro.
Yes.
Okay.
I bet they didn't call him stunt Negro.
But they didn't say Negro.
It was a stunt Negro. Amina continues. There's a very lengthy email here.
Right. Come on with it, Amina.
On your most recent episode reviewing The Hammer.
Yes.
A fellow missionary mentioned Vincent's resemblance to an actor in Half of a Yellow Sun.
Sure. Apparently a good looking guy.
Out of curiosity, I looked up the film and chuckled when I found out who it is. Vincent's twin is Zach Orji.
Okay.
A well-known Nigerian actor and director in the world of Nollywood.
Okay. All right.
Growing up, my mother only cared to watch Nollywood films, so I became very familiar with the actors and actresses. Nollywood is a great avenue for those who want to watch more films made by Black people.
It is.
You will definitely be entertained. I know the podcast mainly focuses on African American films, but I do hope one day you guys would be open to watching a Nollywood film. And if ever that's the case, she actually will email a few suggestions.
Oh, okay.
And she send a list of some suggested films for us to review here. Many of them we've already touched on or we'll be touching on very soon.
Okay.
Your new friend, Amina 2.
Thank you, Amina. Welcome.
Thank you, Amina. Welcome to the...
Welcome home.
You're so sweet. We got another email.
Okay.
From Eric Bray.
What's up, Eric?
Greetings, men of Micheaux. When discussing Tiffany Haddish in the past, I think you've both expressed limited enthusiasm for what you described as a comedian shtick. As an antidote, can I suggest last year's Landscape with Invisible Hand? If you haven't already seen it. Adopted from M.T. Anderson's novel by Corey Finley, plot summaries make the film sound like a YA action adventure, but this artsy dystopian sci-fi depicting an Earth under alien occupation is closer to an episode of Black Mirror than anything else. It was released theatrically, thus qualifying for the mission. There's plenty of subtext to work with, and if nothing else, perhaps it hints at a seldom explored range Miss Haddich is capable of. I'd love to hear your opinion on it in a future episode someday. Thanks again, Eric Gray.
Thank you, Eric, for putting that back on my radar because I wanted to see that.
I have not
But
heard.
as he said, it was like in and out.
I
of
never
the
heard of
theater.
this film.
It was a film, and I believe the plot was, I don't know if the Earth is taken over by aliens or just the aliens are so advanced and the power inequity is so much that they might as well have taken over.
Mm-hmm.
And they look at us as basically reality television.
Oh, interesting.
So they kind of watch us. And I do remember there's a romance between two young people. And I believe Tiffany Haddish plays one of the kids' mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also really, really like Tiffany Haddish on the first 2 seasons of Tracy Morgan's show that I just...
The OG.
The OG.
Yeah, we've mentioned that.
We've talked about,
Way
like
back.
the OG, which was a surprisingly solid show.
Yeah,
for the
it was
first couple of years.
I think it was either a TNT or TBS show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
thank you for
I think
that,
because Tiffany Haddish hit later in her life, right? I think she already may be maturing to that age where she's like, wants to challenge herself a little bit.
Right.
Because to be fair, she hit late, and I'm not going to knock her. People were throwing rolls at her.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay.
Look.
She's going to eat them up. And I don't blame her.
Look. You got to make that money,
Yeah.
especially early on.
And quiet as and look, let's keep it real. Keep it 100. Us losing maybe a bit of enthusiasm for her shtick is no different than us losing. Well, let me speak for myself. Me losing a bit of enthusiasm for the Kevin Hart shtick,
Absolutely.
right? But Kevin Hart is still doing Kevin Hart. So if Tiffany Haddish want to do Tiffany Haddish, as long as them checks are still clearing for her.
Look. To Amina's point about the current landscape of Black film and Black art, I do think we are living in a time where I can't really work up the energy to get upset with projects that I don't like, because there's a lot of projects.
There are.
Like, which
is a good thing.
Which is look, I don't have to watch Kevin Hart movies.
That's the beautiful thing, right?
Like, it's all kinds of movies.
It'll find its audience.
Right. So, God bless these people.
We got another email from Nicole Sherman. Good evening, Len and Vincent and Missionaries. This past week, I went down a mini Tyrese watching spree. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
With his first being with his magnum opus, which would be
Baby Boy, of course.
Of course. Hey, Micheaux, man.
Little Jody.
Hey, Micheaux, man. Y'all want some breakfast?
It's just like chocolate.
Baby Boy is a train wreck of a movie, but entertaining for all the wrong reasons. I then followed up watching Waist Deep, starring Tyrese and Megan Good. Oh.
Never seen that.
No. Last week, as I am still on my quest of watching terrible Black movies, I listened to your guys' review of Booty Call. It was interesting and engaging dialogue comparing the careers of Tommy Davidson and Jamie Foxx, respectively. It's funny when you guys talked about the lack of chemistry between Vivica Fox and Tamala Jones, as Tamala Jones will also be in Two Can Play That Game with Vivica 4 years later, playing one of her homegirls. Yes, that's a movie that has come close to being chosen by me.
We're actually overdue for Two Can Play That Game.
Yeah, we can push it. While listening to the episode, Marlon Wayans came across my mind. Hot take, Marlon Wayans isn't that bad an actor when given the correct material. What I mean is that I wish Marlon did more dramatic roles. Requiem for a Dream, and even the slightly below average biopic Respect, starring Jennifer Hudson, Marlon isn't a bad actor when doing dramatic, serious roles, and he doesn't do a bad job, in my opinion. Him and Kim Wayans, shout out to Pariah, are up there when it comes to standing outside their comfort zone, which is comedy. Sorry for the long email and for writing late, but love always, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole. I don't think that's a hot take in this room.
Not at all.
Like I actually think pound for pound, Marlon is the most talented Wayans.
Yeah, I think you've said that before.
Yeah, that's my personal hot take when the Wayans come up in places. That I think Marlon is the culmination of everything that Keenan built. So.
Yeah. All right. And the Michaels have written us. Vincent, you want to hear from Sykes or Lockett first?
Whoever you look at first. Whoever got in first.
Thank you for playing the game.
Yes.
Michael just can't just play.
I know.
Damn rubrics. Michael Sykes. The grimy side of Still Bill and Lamont Sanford.
Okay. All right.
Hello, Len and Vincent.
Good album.
I want to talk about the grimy side of Bill Withers and Lamont Sanford, not DeMont Wilson, just the character.
Okay.
While both figures are celebrated for their artistic achievement, they also embody a grimy side that reflects deeper societal issues and personal struggles. Let's start off with Bill Withers.
Okay.
I've watched your recent episode on the 1972 movie Hammer, which was great. Did you know that behind the scenes of the movie Nigger Charlie, that Fred Williamson and Bill Withers got into an altercation due to Denise Nicholas was being battered by
Bill Withers.
Bill Withers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fred Williamson stopped it, and Silly Bill got hammered by the hammer.
Yeah.
And in the process of that, we got the great song, Who Is He?
Wow.
And what is he to you?
Wow.
If you don't believe me, you can watch the interview that Fred Williamson did with Vlad.
I'm not going to say a grain of salt, but I always, when I listen to Fred Williamson talk about things, I take it with half a grain of salt. But infamously, I did know that all reports pointed to Bill Withers being physically abusive.
I knew about that.
Yeah. I did not know Fred Williamson had inserted himself into the Bill Withers, Denise Nicholas situation. But
I only knew that from the same way that Michael was referencing, because he's referencing Fred Williamson's interview with Vlad, which was fairly recently.
Okay.
But like you, Fred Williamson is one of those type of guys where I'm listening to him like, I need a co-signer.
Well, you just always put the disclaimer in there.
Yeah.
Fred Williamson said.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't want to like push that narrative.
But yeah. Bill Withers was.
Now that I'm doing
great album.
Great album. Yeah.
Damn, that's a great album.
Well, from tragedy.
Yeah.
Now that I'm done with Silly Billy, let's talk about left out Lamont Sanford.
Little lame Lamont.
People think Lamont is the perfect son, in which he is not. Who thinks he's anyway? People often forget how grimy Lamont is.
Yes.
Example 1, Fred the Activist episode. Fred wanted to buy a new stereo, but due to age discrimination, he couldn't get one, and Lamont didn't want to buy him one or sign the contract. Example 2, how shady and wrong he is with Donna in the early episodes. With Donna, he hated her for selfish reasons. Example 3, episode Wine, Women, and Aunt Esther, when Fred and his friends throwing a wild party, inviting topless waitress Fast Fanny.
Oh yeah, Fast Fanny.
And Lamont messed it up by calling the Fanny, trying to postpone the party, getting his father and friends liquored up before Fanny got there.
That's right.
I could go on, but you get the point. Love your fan, Michael. First of all, nobody says that Lamont Sanford is the perfect son.
No, but most importantly, that is one of my favorite episodes of Sanford and Son, because it's like the entire Fred Sanford Justice League. Because Bubba is on that episode.
Yeah. Aunt Esther.
Aunt Esther's on that episode. Grady is on that episode, but Leon and Skillet are also on that episode. Leroy and Skillet.
Yeah.
So that's a good episode.
Very good.
That's a good episode. And Fast Fanny got on a skirt so little in that episode. I don't even know, like I don't know if it was Ruth Carter but whoever the costumer was somehow got past
the censors
because her skirt is so small. I don't even know how she moved without all her glory showing.
And I'm sure you watched all of her movies.
Well, I'm a fan of Sanford and Son. Fast Fanny said her name was faster, and out of sight. I said, well, all right, Fast Fanny. Yeah, I like Fast Fanny. She worked down at the bowling alley.
Final email is from the other Michael.
Yes,
Michael
Michael.
Lockett. Greetings, brothers. Before I start, I'd like to give a shameless plug of the Micheaux mission.
Okay.
So, you are making our associate producer Maurice's day right now.
Okay.
To all listeners and viewers, please take 30 seconds and rate the podcast on Apple Podcasts. You might as well also subscribe on YouTube. And of course, if you want to be in the know, follow the show on the other social sites. The Micheaux mission brings us joy, so share the love, tell folks about it, and make sure the corporate overlords know it's banging.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. It has been ages since I had seen Hammer, and my rewatch reminded me of why. This film is a classic in name only. It misses the mark, but does give us glimpses of what might come with Black Caesar. That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
Two quick asides. The idea of a hammer truck turner shaft, that's a blaxploitation fist in the air film festival if I ever heard one. Also, the top 5 hammers was outstanding. As the list and suspense mounted, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. On my time travels, I landed on State Property. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Boy, it was
right.
not a good week for you.
All right.
And frantically was pushing buttons to get back to the present. This movie is bad.
Yeah.
Len is 100% correct that everything that Vince was trying to attribute to this film actually applies to Belly.
Yeah. State Property is. Yeah.
A quick question for you, too. As you talk, Len mentioned Toni Collette and the show United States of Terror. It was indeed a great show. During this run, I found out she was Australian, blew my mind. In this vein, who would you guys put on a list of the best foreign Black actors to pull off an American accent?
I mean,
the best, Michael Luckett.
Got to start with Idris Elba. I still think Idris Elba is from Baltimore. I refuse to believe Idris Elba is not from Baltimore.
Yeah, I would say he definitely would count. I also think you would have to say Iman Walker, who was on he was on Oz.
Yeah,
he played like Kareem Saeed on Oz, and he's actually been he's on one of those like one of those Chicago shows.
Yeah.
I think it's Chicago Fire.
Sure.
Yeah,
I've seen him on there.
Yeah, like you would not. I didn't know that he was British.
Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think, does a good American accent.
Oh yeah.
You
know what? I'm sitting here like, he's American.
Yeah. Like I always think about his Chicago accent, not Chicago, that New York accent in Inside Man.
What about Get Out?
Daniel Kaluuya?
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya has a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya has a good one.
That's
all right.
That's 4 right there. All right. There you go.
All right.
That is our emails. If you want to have your voices heard, missionaries, please email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. And now it's time for us to get into the world of the top 5.
Top 5. Who's your top 5?
I give a list to Vincent, and he shares his commentary with all of us to our eternal enjoyment. I say, Vincent, that this is the world of the top 5 because of a feature that we are carrying over from July, where we kind of like started looking at these years of the films in more totality. We're continuing on here in Action August. We are going to be reviewing Trouble Man, which was from 1972. We're actually going to be living in the year of 1972 for the remainder of the year. We were there last week. Last week.
No, remainder of the month.
Oh, for the remainder of the month. You're right. But we were there last week for Hammer, where we looked at people who actually we lost in 1972 and people who were born in 1972. This week, before we get into the actual top 5, I'm going to pepper you, Vincent, with the top singles and top albums in 1972.
Oh, that's a good year.
Now this is only for black music.
Okay.
All right. And I'll show where they rank. And the reason why I am doing this is because Trouble Man historically has a soundtrack, the one and only soundtrack that is written and composed by Marvin Gaye.
Yes, sir.
And has gone on to be a very well-respected soundtrack, so much so that the Complex rated it number 36 of the best soundtracks of the past 50 years. Mentioning that Trouble Man always takes them back to Marvin Gaye's performance of the title song during his 1974 concert at the Oakland Coliseum. Years after the death of his one-time lover, Tammy Terrell, he sought to conquer his stage fright on a winter evening in front of a packed Bay Area crowd. Throughout the night, he powered through his most famous tracks, including a voluptuous 11-minute Fossil medley, while fighting through his notorious introversion. To understand Gaye's performance that night is to understand his personal state of affairs during this time period, his battles with the IRS, his tumultuous love affair with Janice Hunter, and his complicated relationship with fame. But his performance of Trouble Man, third number of that 1974 evening, gave a glimpse of his fortitude. The song chronicles the life of a James Bond-like protagonist who fights crime with a distinct level of cool, and the song is nothing but cool personified, set to music. The title track for Trouble Man. So let's look at the top singles for 1972. Now, we're only looking at black music, and we're only going to be looking at 5.
Okay, what we got?
But at number 13, we have Oh Girl by the Shylights. You know that song?
Yes.
Okay. Numbers at number 11, we have Let's Stay Together by Al Green.
Oof, Lord. That's a hard-hitting song.
We just brought him up at number 7, Bill Withers with Lean on Me.
Yeah.
The number 5 single for the year of 1972, and this is probably his last time on the charts, Sammy Davis Jr. With The Candyman.
I was going to say, that's probably Candyman.
Yeah, and that's got to be his last time.
It's got to be Candyman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the number 1 black single of the year of 1972
was
the number 1 single of 1972.
Stevie Wonder?
Nope.
Who was it?
The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face.
Wow.
By Roberta Flack.
Oh, there you go.
Yo. Roberta Flack, who is still with us, I believe in her 80s. Unfortunately suffered a stroke a few years ago, so she's not to perform anymore. But Roberta Flack was a beast, man. She was a problem.
Look,
she was a problem musically. She was a problem in all the ways a black woman can be a problem.
Yeah,
Roberta Flack.
Yeah.
And if you do not believe me, I turned to the top albums of 1972.
Okay.
Where, and this is black music, okay? At number 34, you have the soundtrack to Shaft by Isaac Hayes.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Arguably the greatest soundtrack. Of all time.
Arguably. It's certainly the one that, we'll talk about tonight. It's certainly the one that threw down the gauntlet.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
At number 22, you have Donny Hathaway Live.
Ooh. Oh, my God. It's
Donny Hathaway.
One of my favorite albums of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. At number 12, you have the album Let's Stay Together by Al Green.
It's a great album. It's part of his run. It's part of his 8-year run of great albums. Yeah.
To show you how much of a problem Roberta Flack was, folks, the year 1972, the number 35 album, best-selling album, is Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. My parents played that to death.
The number 17 best-selling album of 1972 is Quiet Fire by Roberta Flack.
Yup.
And the number 7.
It's like her third album, I think, Quiet Fire. Go ahead.
Which is still on it.
Yeah, it's still on there. Yeah.
And the number 7 best-selling album of 1972 is First Take.
Which is her first album.
By Roberta Flack.
Yeah.
That is how much of a problem Roberta Flack was in 1972.
Look, what is, so it's like First Take, her second album is something with the 2 in it. Look up, and then Quiet Fire, I think it's the third album. And then it's Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. You got it?
Give me a moment. I got to pull it up.
First Take is second something.
Roberta Flack. I see y'all in the chat. Just give me a minute. Let me do it. First Take and Feel Like Make. No, that's 75. Chapter 2.
Yeah, First Take, Chapter 2, and then Quiet Fire. Then it's Donny Hathaway.
Then it's, yeah.
And then the first time I ever
saw Killing Me Softly.
Killing Me Softly. Dude.
Oh my God.
Dude.
And then and after Killing Me Softly, she takes a year break and then drops Feel Like Making Love.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I'm not that big of a fan of Feel Like Making Love.
But
as
the
an
hit,
album.
but it's a hit.
Yeah. But that first 5, when Roberta Flack had that big afro and she'd just be sitting at the piano. Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
That's insane. It's ridiculous.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
But those are good albums.
Great album.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
All right. Now let's get into the top 5 things that happened in black culture in 1972, Vincent. We are both fans of the comedy of Bill Cosby.
Yes.
But are you aware of Bill Cosby's Grammy-winning album, Bill Cosby Talks to Kids About Drugs?
Lynn, this is so funny. So I was out of town this weekend. You and I, we'll actually talk about this more next month. I was actually in New Orleans. Went to this little itty bitty comic shop. Bought remember when schools used to have the promotional comics?
Yeah.
The educational comics? Literally 4 days ago, I bought a Fat Albert comic.
Okay.
That was Fat Albert talking about the scourge of alcohol.
And was Bill Cosby prominent in the comic?
I mean, it was basically a Fat Albert comic book. So, he's at the very beginning. Oh boy, the boys, there's Bucky. And then at the end, he, comes in and don't do the alcohol, kids.
Well, Bill Cosby Talks to Kids About Drugs. It's an album by Bill Cosby that is unlike most of his recordings. This one is a record intended for children to school them on the dangers of drugs through songs and dialogue. It won a Grammy Award in 1972 for the best recording for children.
Okay.
Bill Cosby preaching against the drugs.
Just let that sit there. What's the next thing?
Okay. Next thing, this might go into memory banks for people.
Okay.
The United Negro College Fund, UNCF, in 1972 to publicize its efforts to help African Americans obtain graduate and undergraduate degrees and to close a persistent gap with other groups in college completion, introduced their tagline.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
That's right.
Woo! United Negro College Fund.
Yep. That was on commercials.
Oh my goodness
all
gracious.
throughout the 70s.
Black. It had me thinking that going to college, I was on a mission. I was holding up the banner.
Yep.
Raising up the race.
You gotta go. You had to go.
You remember the commercial with the family? They lived in the country. They was at the table and they had to tell their son they couldn't afford to send him to college. And then his little brother came in with the jar of change.
Yep.
Here, Billy, will this help?
'Cause a mind
is a terrible thing to waste.
Yep.
Woo!
That started in 1972.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Talk about a member berry, right?
Oh.
Number 3. Singer and guitarist Chuck Berry.
Okay.
Only number 1 single was a live recording of a raunchy New Orleans tune called
This isn't My Ding-a-ling.
My Ding-a-ling.
Is this My Ding-a-ling? Yeah.
Which was number 1
Yeah.
for 2 weeks.
That's right, My Ding-a-ling.
In 1972.
All I want to do is play with My Ding-a-ling.
It actually
Those are lyrics of the song. I'm just singing the lyrics of the song. It's about his ding-a-ling and how much he enjoys playing with it.
Billboard ranked this as the number 15 song for 1972. He actually performed this live, backed by the Roy Young Band, atop of a bill that included George Carlin, Billy Preston, and Pink Floyd.
It's not a bad show.
Chuck Berry on the stage singing
My Ding-a-ling.
My Ding-a-ling.
That's right. That's a true thing.
That is a true thing that happened in 1970.
Yes, it is.
Also in 1972, speaking of Sammy Davis Jr.,
yes,
on April 10th of 1972, he became the first African-American to host the Academy Awards ceremony.
Oh, that's interesting.
All right. Alongside, now to admit, he did have co-hosts. Alan King, Helen Hayes, and Jack Lemmon also shared hosting duties on the 44th annual event, which saw Isaac Hayes become the first African-American to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song.
That's right.
With theme from Shaft.
That's right. And those bastards didn't want to give it to him because he couldn't read music.
I know.
I never, ever miss an opportunity to say that. Rock with the Oscars, right? Go ahead.
The singer-songwriter and actor became the first African-American to win that award or any award in a non-acting category. So he's first black. And the number 1 thing that happened in black culture in 1972,
okay,
very apropos for the times in which we live now, is New York Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm.
All right.
Is the first black person to campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination. While her bid is unsuccessful, Chisholm, who had been the first black woman in Congress when she was elected to the House of Reps in 1968, becomes the first black person and first woman to win delegates for a presidential nomination by a major party.
Right on.
Until the year 2024.
Until the year
Kamala Harris.
Kamala
Harris.
Right.
All right.
All right now.
So that is what happened
All right.
in 1972.
1972. Good year.
Very good year.
All right.
All right. Let's get into the Game of Kings.
Game of Kings.
Otherwise known as 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin.
All right.
Six Degrees of D'Urville Martin, where I give Vincent an actor and he has 6 films or less to connect said actor to D'Urville Martin, that star of stage, screen, and all forms of cinema, and Your Dreams.
And Your Dreams.
From 1972.
That's right.
Vincent, we are going to be reviewing Trouble Man tonight, which stars one Robert Hooks.
Yes.
Keeping in theme, in 6 films or less, connect D'Urville Martin to the actress Jan Hooks.
Oh, I thought you were going to do Brian Hooks.
That would have been too easy.
That'd been too easy. Jan. Oh. SNL Jan Hooks?
In a few movies, 2 of which I know you've seen.
She was part of that cohort at like age, because I think, isn't she's like part of that wave of them that were in movies, SNL movies, that like the more popular people. Was she in like Night at the Roxbury?
No.
Or
She is in one SNL movie. Not the star.
Oh yeah. Oh. I know she's not the star. She's like on the periphery.
Yeah.
Like when she would show up. Problem with Jan Hooks is I get her right because she's part of that like early '80s contingent.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Get her mixed up with Lorraine Newman. Lorraine Newman is.
They've got a similar vibe. Lorraine's a little more surreal.
She won the daughter in the Coneheads. So that's Jane Curtin. Wait, was she the daughter in the Coneheads? Is she in the Coneheads?
She is, in fact, in the Coneheads.
She's not the daughter because I remember they switched out.
No, she's not the daughter.
But she's in the Coneheads. All right. Well, in that case,
that was a deep pull for you because you're not even pulling her for the right reason, but she just happens to be in it.
Right, because
you're thinking they baby subbed her out for Lorraine Newman.
Right. Lorraine Newman played the daughter
on the show.
Okay, so
but Lorraine Newman doesn't play the
daughter because she was
aged out.
And also, remember the Coneheads came out like years after.
Way past. Well,
like it was weird that the Coneheads came out during that period where like.
Well, that's because in the time when they started, the first real SNL movie is Blues Brothers.
Right.
And Dan Aykroyd kind of like detached himself from
exactly.
SNL.
And then Chevy Chase and Bill Murray weren't really making SNL movies. They were just from SNL.
Right. And Eddie was making his own movies.
And then Eddie was making his. Well, all right. Well, regardless, because Coneheads was really stupid.
I never saw it.
It was so stupid. Well, no, I meant the bit on Saturday Night Live.
I liked it on the show.
Just so stupid.
I thought it was kind of cool.
But all right, fine. Look, D'Urville Martin is in 5 on the Black Hands Out with Leonard Jackson. Leonard Jackson is in Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is, of course, in one of the films you're talking about, where Dan Aykroyd is distancing himself from Saturday Night Live, and that would, of course, be Trading Places. And then Dan Aykroyd is in the Coneheads.
Very good.
With Jan Hooks.
Very good, Vincent. Very good. All right. Now,
Jan Hooks get in it if Lorraine Newberry. Like, I do remember feeling some kind of way that they had switched Lorraine Newman out. Because they said
Are you talking about the movie?
Yeah, she said she was too old to be the daughter.
Yeah, but Jan Hooks, you got to remember, she was definitely, Lorraine Newman was definitely too old by the time they did the movie.
Right.
You're right. But Jan Hooks also probably was a little bit too old as well.
Right.
Because when she joined Saturday Night Live, she was already like in her like mid to late 20s.
Right.
She was like one of the
right.
older ones.
All right.
So it makes sense.
I thought the Coneheads was stupid.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right. Next,
All right.
keeping it in theme,
Mm-hmm.
Trouble Man, which we will be reviewing,
Yes.
features a soundtrack, as we have mentioned multiple times, by one Marvin Gaye.
Absolutely.
So in 6 films or less, connect Derville Martin to Nona Gaye.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Nona Gaye. Good Lord. I don't even. Was she anything besides the Matrix movies?
Yes.
Oh my God. Nona Gaye. Nona Gaye. We were talking a few weeks ago about Kalita Smith, and I said Kalita Smith, I think what kind of hampered her career a little bit is she was too fond. So, like, she was kind of distracting. Oh my God. Nona Gaye was actually ridiculous. Like, Nona Gaye
First of all, don't say was, is.
is, but I'm thinking about her, like her in the Matrix. It's like robots and kung fu. And I couldn't.
And then
even,
over there is Nona Gaye.
dude, the 10 minutes before and after Nona Gaye is in there with Harold Perrineau, I don't even remember the movie. Oh my gosh, she is so fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, no, oh Lord have mercy. Nona Gaye's so fun. I bought her album.
You've
I have no idea what the music sounds like.
never played.
Like, no, I listened to it, but I'm just I remember staring at the cassette tape
Oh,
with her picture on it.
oh. That's me with the Ohio Players album.
Oh my goodness. And her fond self. All right. Oh, okay. Look. Shit, how do I?
Yeah, you play the game?
Who the? Ooh, yeah.
Dylan, we need water.
Ooh, I done got swoozy. Who I want to use to get to Nona Gaye?
We know what you want to use.
Lord have mercy on my soul. I go to Lawrence Fishburne.
You gotta go home,
Well,
bro.
a lot. Who am I going to get to? Can I do Harold Perrineau? Can I use Harold Perrineau? All right, so
I can get to Harold Perrineau easy.
all right, I'll do the Harold Perrineau. Whew, Lord have mercy. Same thing. Leonard Jackson. To Eddie Murphy, but Eddie Murphy is, and I'm gonna cheat a little bit because now I'm swoozy thinking about Nona Gaye. Eddie Murphy is in Coming to America with an uncredited, but see, I'm so messed up. That's not Terrence Howard at all. That's Cuba Gooding Jr.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Remember the
you think
dude
about
who cuts his hair?
Yeah, yeah. And you can't use somebody uncredited.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, fine.
You are done.
Okay, I might have to go to the well because I'm trying to be cute and use Harold Perrineau, but yeah,
You're trying to think and nothing happening.
But yeah, so he's in Sheba Baby with Pam Grier. Pam Grier is in Hitman with Bernie Casey. Bernie Casey is in Cornbread Earl and Me with Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne is in The Matrix Reloaded with Nona Gaye.
There you go. Very good.
Ooh, because remember she had on like a leather?
Yes.
That like leather top in the pants?
Stop touching yourself.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Nona Gaye.
Yeah, Lord have mercy. You're about to have our YouTube channel shut down.
Ooh, I wasn't ready for Nona Gaye. But in my defense, no one is ever really ready for Nona Gaye.
Over here turning your dials. There you go. Very good, Vincent.
All right.
Well done.
What else is Nona Gaye in besides the Matrix movies?
She was in Alley.
She sure was an Ollie because she was one of Will Smith. She was one of Ollie's wives.
Yes, Belinda.
And I said, I see you, Will Smith. I see what you're doing there.
And she was also in Crash.
I have no memory of Crash whatsoever.
Me neither. Me neither. And she shows up in Triple X State of the Union from 2005.
Is she really?
Apparently.
And that's the one with Ice Cube.
I believe that is the one that is with Ice Cube.
Yeah, yeah. I actually like the Triple X movies. They're big, dumb fun. I don't remember her in it. Ooh, all right. Right.
That was 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. That was the top 5. That was Missives from the Missionary. And now it is time for us to get into our review of Trouble Man.
Trouble Man from 1972. The story of T, a slick detective who's done very well for himself, but still runs his operation from the same mean streets he grew up in South Central Los Angeles. His latest case comes from local hoods who claim that someone's been robbing their dice game at gunpoint. However, as T searches for the perpetrator, he realizes the job is a setup. Trouble Man from 1972 is directed by Ivan Dixon and written by John D.F. Black, who is a name you may not recognize, but most famously, he wrote the screenplay. I don't know if it's an adapted screenplay, but Shaft was a novel. And he wrote the screenplay for the film Shaft. Robert Hooks stars as the title character. It also features Paul Winfield and Paula Kelly, and an appearance by the always welcome Julius Harris. This was the choice of Lynn Webb. Oh, and of course, featuring a soundtrack by Marvin Gaye. This was a choice of Lynn Webb. What do you have to say about Death, Taxes, and Trouble?
Before I do that, interesting footnote, because I know you say don't look at the chat, but Deborah Battle put out there that CCH Pounder has the best American accent. You would never believe that she is not from New York. I did not know that she was not.
Oh, yeah. I just found out at this exact second she wasn't from New York.
I did not.
So there you go.
I did not know she was not British.
Okay. There you go.
I didn't know she was British at all. So you're right. CCH Pounder for the win. Trouble Man is a movie that I was totally unaware of. Because it was you, Vincent, who clued me in that Trouble Man, the album by Marvin Gaye, was indeed a soundtrack. I did not know this.
Okay.
I always thought it was just Trouble Man is this album Marvin Gaye did. And I've never owned the album. I've always known of it and heard like some music from it, and of course the theme from the album. So I had no reason to even think of it as a soundtrack for a movie. So finding out that it was a soundtrack for a movie, finding out that it's a soundtrack for a blaxploitation movie, and then it's it's about some rough and tumble detective. Well, not rough and tumble. He's kind of like a slick, private eye detective who gets caught up in a pretty intricate caper for blaxploitation films.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm interested in this. Robert Hooks, a name, an actor who I know of, have seen on television many times and sometimes in movies. Okay, see what we're talking about. Paula Kelly, a name that we have always championed here. Could not have more than enough Paula Kelly. And Paul Winfield, person I enjoy.
Absolutely.
Always enjoyed Paul Winfield, a very underrated actor. Last seen here on the mission, probably in Sounder.
Yeah.
So I was intrigued by everything. And then learning that this was directed by Ivan Dixon, a name that comes out of blaxploitation, not just because of Car Wash, but because of, and not a name that comes out of television just because of Hogan Heroes, but a name that we champion here because Nothing But a Man
Also plays Joseph Assegai
r-
in Raisin in the Sun.
right. So like just a name you're like, okay, that is a respected dude, right? And he's going to be directing this. So now he's going to be applying his trade, seeing what, you know, he can pull from this exercise. And Marvin Gaye's doing the soundtrack.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, this is setting up like this might be something real juicy, something real meaty, a lot of meat on this bone.
And
I have to, for all of those, I know there's a lot of missionaries out there that watch alongside with us, call out the okie doke, because if you go looking for this movie on streaming, you will find it out there.
yeah.
However, you will find versions with the Marvin Gaye music taken out.
That's right.
And replacement music being put in because there was a rights issue with this movie for quite a long time. I think it actually may still be going. I'm not even sure if I don't think it actually is streaming with the Marvin Gaye. Well,
It's not streaming
legally streaming.
Yes.
With the Marvin Gaye music, it's not because I got 15 minutes into this movie.
I think we did the same thing.
And I'm like, it's funny that Marvin Gaye wouldn't have done the theme song, but okay, maybe it's coming up. It's coming up later. And then by the time it gets to a scene where you can really hear, like, you know, if you know how to listen, you can hear when they make the switch, and you can hear how like the sound kind of like is adjusted. I'm like, oh, they don't have the.
Right.
So then I had to go YouTube diving.
All right. Right. So you did watch a version.
I found the version
good,
with the Marvin Gaye music.
Good.
Which is good for me, because in those 15 minutes of watching this film without the Marvin Gaye music, what this movie was, to be fair, the version that has the replacement music is an almost pristine cut of the movie. So you're watching this, and it's not like, you know, 4K, but you're watching a good movie, right? As if it probably appeared on the screen. So you're watching that, and you're like, okay, at least it's a clear movie, but it's not really hitting. It's not really popping for me, right? So once I go back and watch it with the Marvin Gaye music, I'm like, oh, that's what's missing. The attitude, the whole vibe that Marvin Gaye's music and his musicianship brings to this. Because it's not just Marvin Gaye doing songs. It's Marvin Gaye because, you know, he's a composer.
I'll say he does the score.
He does it. It's a complete score. He is getting his Isaac Hayes on.
That's right.
For this movie. So he is setting a mood, and the music goes a long way to setting the moods that you want. There are moments where it's supposed to be like, you know, kind of soft and lovely between Mr. T, Robin Hook's character, and Paula Kelly. There are times where it's supposed to be action-packed, where Mr. T gets into some fights. There's times when Mr. T is flexing his cool, and he's got his fly suit, and he's got his multi-pattern pad that he lives in. And it's all about the vibe that Marvin Gaye's music sets up for these scenes. The problem is that Ivan Dixon, as an actor, formidable foe. You know, definitely a presence that pops on the screen. As a director, and I learned, a director who didn't get his feet wet on television. He just would stand by and ask questions.
Right, I was about to say he didn't direct any episodes.
He didn't direct any episodes, so he didn't really get his hands around cameras and calling shots. And it unfortunately shows that naivete in the direction of this film, because there are moments where the direction just leaves little to be desired. There are things that are happening. People are moving their hands off screen. They're touching stuff that is, pivotal to the plot, but we never see it because the camera is so tight on a 2-shot. He doesn't know how to shoot action at all, which is a skill in of itself. There's not really any love scenes in here, so you can get away with that. But he doesn't know how to set a mood in the staging, in directing the actors to how to perform, how to get their lines across. So the direction is not really saying anything. So now that means that the actors are on an island, and it's all about what they bring to the proceedings here. You've got Paula Kelly, an actor that we have championed for a long time here on the Micheaux Mission, and not given really anything to do. I don't even think she ever leaves her apartment.
I was about to say, they keep her in that one room.
She just keeps coming, and she's not even in her room. Half the time she's in the doorway. Yeah. She doesn't even leave the apartment for the 3 or 4 scenes that she shows up for. And it's not given anything to do. But her one task is to develop chemistry with Robert Hooks, Mr. T. And Paula Kelly, beautiful woman, knows how to play her position, is acting her butt off to create this chemistry with Robert Hooks, Mr. T. Paul Winfield, it is kind of like the bad guy in this movie.
Yes.
But he's not twirling his mustache. Let's put it that way.
Well, he's Paul Winfield.
But he's Paul Winfield, but he's also, there are moments where he's he's mean, but there's also where he's got to be a little cowardice. Yeah. And he gets it over. There are times where he's got to be funny and he gets it over. Paul Winfield I get the impression Paul Winfield is having a ball. Yeah. In this movie. He's like, yo, if y'all not going to direct me, I'm just going to do what I got to do. Right. And that's what he does. And he does what he got to do. There's another actor who may not be familiar to many of you on the Micheaux Mission. All of you missionaries, but some of our older missionaries will definitely recognize this actor, Ralph Waits, who plays the other bad guy, the personification of the man in this show movie. Ralph Waits, more famously known as the father on the 70s TV series, The Waltons. That is the series that would make him famous. And that's not long after this.
I mean, it could be.
This movie.
Yeah, because he looks just like him.
Right. Yeah. But he ain't Papa Walton in this one.
No, he's not. Not at all.
Ralph Waits he's all the man, and F these ends, and he's at. But he's having fun. Ralph Waits is an accomplished actor. Yeah. And he's having a ball in this movie. You mentioned Julius Harris shows up. Always welcome to see Julius Harris show up.
As Mr. Big.
As Mr. Big, as only he can be, Mr. Biggs. Bill Henderson, a welcome face of television and black cinema, shows up as Jimmy, the guy who runs the pool hall there. A name and a face that I actually recognize, William Smithers, who plays the captain, the white police captain. I know him from Star Trek, but he showed up in Dallas as well. A welcome actor. All of these are people that are having a good time on this screen. But this movie centers all around the trouble man himself, who is Robert Hooks. And Robert Hooks, put it out there, a very accomplished actor, a very accomplished activist, creator of the Negro Ensemble group, the father of Kevin Hooks.
Kevin Hooks and I think Brian Hooks might be his grandson.
Right.
Definitely Kevin Hooks' father. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And a man who shows up in many things. He shows up in Star Trek, rather not the Search for Spock. I
Right,
think
he's Robert Hooks. He's like Hollywood's official black man.
Yeah, like one of them. Like one of them. It's like at this time, like, you know, like as far as, you know, like if you couldn't get Sidney Poitier,
Right,
and the people are out there doing their, you know, doing the blaxploitation stuff before he got here, it was Robert Hooks and Garrett Morris. Like that's
Greg Morris.
Greg Morris.
Yeah, Greg Morris.
Right. That's who it was.
Right. And Don Marshall picking up people's crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is Robert Hooks. As far as I know, this is his big blaxploitation play.
I think this is his only blaxploitation film.
Right. And rightfully so, he's the lead.
Yes.
He deserves to be the lead because of his stature in Hollywood.
Yes.
So he's not miscast,
Mm-hmm.
but he is the problem in this film.
Okay.
Because, and I think it's a problem of him being so much of a quote unquote thespian.
Boy, go talk that talk. Talk that talk. So I don't have to talk it as much.
He is just he just plays it too straight up and down. And this is a movie, like, he's Mr. T. That's his name. People just call him T in this movie. Everybody is leaning in on where they know which world they are occupying. Everybody except Robert Hooks. Robert Hooks thinks he's in, I don't know, Dragnet the movie or something. Like he's so straight up and down. And don't get me wrong, he has the presence, he has the physicality for it, but he's just so one note in this movie. It is so, you know what? And it reminds me of what's the movie? And I actually just rewatched it again. The jazz remake of Othello.
Up All Night.
Up All Night.
Mm-hmm.
And the actor in that movie who was a bit of the issue in that, because everything revolved around him.
Right. But in his defense, it was 1961 and he couldn't touch the white woman that he was supposed to be married to.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, he was much better in Truck Turner.
Right. He was. But Robert Hooks is just he is 100% the problem in this movie. All Night Long was the name of that
Rex
movie.
Ingram.
Rex Ingram. Thank you.
Rex Ingram.
Thank you, Ron Covington. He is just the problem in this movie. He has zero chemistry with Paula Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
He has zero. There are moments where he is going back and forth with Paul Winfield, and Paul Winfield is doing everything that he can in those scenes to make Robert Hooks the bigger person in the scene because he's supposed to be.
Right.
And he can't do it. And in his scenes against Julius Harris, where they're actually supposed to be on an even playing field, Julius Harris is eating him up as Mr. Big because Julius Harris is Mr. Big.
He is looser. He's more comfortable. I'm sorry, were you finished?
Go.
You were being kind. I'll switch places with you and I'll be the unkind one.
Okay.
I think Robert Hooks as Mr. T in Trouble Man, if there has been a worse miscasting, I don't know if you and I have seen it in our tenure here on the Mission. I think Robert Hooks is a perfect example of what we have talked about periodically when we talk about this period of black films, where you had these two cohorts of actors. You had the actors that come out of this moment, including Julius Harris. Julius Harris, who who I think his first role was Nothing Like a Man, but then he kind of blossomed in the 70s. Of course, Pam.
Are you thinking about Ivan Dixon?
No, not Ivan Dixon. Remember, Julius Harris plays the father.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think that was his first role.
Okay.
Of course, Pam Grier. We've talked about Fred Williamson. There are actors that come out of this period that are looser, that have not necessarily been formally trained, and they are of this moment.
Yeah.
And then you have a generation of black actors. It's funny because we just name checked two of the big ones that I think about. The great Greg Morse, the great Don Marshall, and yes, Robert Hooks. That these, like you just said it, these are classically trained theater actors. They've had all of this formal experience, and they found themselves in this blaxploitation moment. That now these many years of training that I've had, I've got to work against that to fit into this moment. And there is not 1 second in this film where Robert Hooks isn't ridiculous. Like the film starts and he leaves a woman's house and she's in the pool and she says, "When will I see you again, baby?" And he says, "Well, I'll be when I'll see if I can see you again." And he has on this resplendent suit, but he looks like a lawyer.
He does.
Or an accountant.
Throughout the entire movie.
Like he is an upstanding, like we were talking about the United Negro College Fund. Like he looks like a dude in one of them articles in the Big Ebony, where they would do a profile on, like, black execs at GMC are driving towards the future.
Right.
And it's like him in a house with his wife and his 3 kids, and they're like playing tennis. And there's never a moment in this film where you like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, you never believe him.
Like, clearly there's a revival of Raisin in the Sun somewhere. Like, what? Like, God bless the brother. Like, I love a brother with a job. So, look, God bless him having a job. But immediately, that takes me out of this film completely.
Yeah.
The flip side, and you mentioned it about this plot, which is a pretty good plot.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on the plot.
The problem with the plot of this film is that it centers on this character, T, who is so underdeveloped, so vague. Like, the film starts, he goes to this pool hall, he gets into this game, this high stakes pool game. But then the dude who runs the pool hall comes and tells him there's been some type of situation in an apartment. So can you handle that?
Yeah.
But then he loans money.
You're meant to believe that when he walks into this pool hall, like he's the man.
He's the man, but
almost like, because he goes and sits upon like a chair, like akin to a throne.
So it's like, I'm like, is he like, is it like, what is his deal exactly? And it's so funny because a half hour in, he runs into his police antagonist and he says, I have a PI license. And I made note of it. Like at 36 minutes, I said, oh, so he's supposed to be a private investigator. But then the policeman says it. You're a private investigator, but you're wearing $300 suits. You're driving around this car, which I'm assuming a $300 suit in 1972 is equivalent to a $5,000 suit. You think about the 2 texts that are the foundation of all of this stuff. Priest and Superfly is a drug dealer. So it makes complete sense, the economics of it. He has this lavish wardrobe. He's got this ridiculous car. He's got, they say it in Superfly. He has the finest of cocaine and he wants to do his big score. Okay, well, this makes sense to me.
Right.
For everything we talk about Shaft, The thing I love about Shaft is that it's really just a Sam Spade.
That's all it is.
Like, but he's just super cool. But the economics of Shaft, he has a pretty rundown office.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a car. Like, he eats hot dogs, and it's just Richard Roundtree. Like, he's got I think he wears like 3 black turtlenecks. He has 2 leather jackets. Like, he has that long leather jacket, and he has his action leather jacket. But you could tell he's not threadbare, but he's from this PI tradition.
Mm-hmm.
T has all this money. He has all of these connections.
Yeah.
But the film never grounds him so that this world makes sense. And for me, the irony is that I think this film would have worked 1,000 times better if you would have removed this character T and made it one of the Shaft sequels.
Well, okay,
because now you have a character that who this plot of the double cross and they're trying to frame him is actually a pretty solid plot.
Well, the only thing I will say is that Ivan Dixon's direction doesn't do him any favors.
No,
because your direction should also be doing part of the lifting of establishing who you are by your staging in a scene, by the way the camera is shooting you and following you, right? And none of that happens in this movie. But without that to help him, then, to your point, everything else relies on who the actor is and the actor pulling it together. And especially, like you just said, Mr. T being this amalgamation of Shaft and Superfly.
Right.
Because he's supposed to be, a private, the world's greatest private detective, but also the neighborhood Don, more or less.
Right. He's a fixer.
And a ladies' man.
And somehow he has all this money.
Right. So all of that you've got to be wearing in your body when in your performance. And he does have clothes that maybe look a little bit, because I think he is the private investigator. He's not going to have the Superfly line of wear. So it is a little bit more just like for the time stylish, but that's when it's all got to be in your body, because you could pull it off in those clothes if you have it in your body.
Frankly, if you had that swag.
If you've got that swag. And now, while this is going back a few years, I'm thinking of Jim Brown in The Hit.
Right.
Which is basically Jim Brown in the suits of the day.
Right.
But he's got the swag.
Yeah.
And he pulls it off. Even we're going to be we talked about it. Fred Williamson in Black Caesar. Black Caesar's not a pimp.
No.
He's just got on basically the suit of the day, but he's Fred Williamson.
Right.
Fred Williamson,
right,
in this role.
And to be clear, I really do think this is a case of it's almost like if you know anyone who majored in broadcasting in college and they work on losing their regional accent. And you really get the sense from his bearing that Robert Hooks has trained to be this type of actor, that this looseness we're talking about, it just is not in him as a performer.
I know, and it's a shame.
It's a shame. So, and to be clear, once I can't say this enough, I like Robert Hooks as an actor. I thought this was a wrong project for him.
Right.
And unfortunately, you have this 5-6 year period where actors like him, you know, the aforementioned Greg Morris, like, again, these sort of classically trained, specifically black male actors, it's not a good fit for them.
Yeah, see, but I'm not going to land it on the classically trained, because there are some actors who classically trained or not just are looser. You know, they make it work.
Who? Like, give me an example of one of these sort of coming out of the Negro, the American Negro theater tradition. Like, we talk about Sidney Poitier, but Sidney Poitier is Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
And I think Sidney Poitier has always had this sort of feline looseness to his performance.
And by 72, he's actually probably already from a generation before.
Right. Right.
Them. But the one person who comes to my mind, and I want to just make sure I'm not sure of his training, so I just want to check first. Because the whole time I'm watching this movie, this is the person that I'm thinking, like, man, this person.
And even James Earl Jones, like when you look at something at Claudine or even Bingo Long, he has this kind of big country boy-ness that he kind of pulls out.
Yeah, the actor I'm thinking of, he wasn't even classically trained, even though he did do more than a few roles. Got to start on Broadway, and that was Calvin Lockhart.
Calvin Lockhart is another one, and you're right, but Calvin Lockhart has this real slickness that he pulls out.
No, but I'm saying I would have loved to see him in this role.
Right.
You know, but he didn't have the classic training.
Yeah.
That you were referring to. But as I was watching this, like, he could have pulled off this amalgamation.
Right.
Like,
right.
So beautiful.
So in a lot of ways, building on what you're saying, for me, you're gonna have to do one or the other. Either the script is gonna have to lay out why this makes sense, why this character makes sense. Like, I needed him to say, you know, like why, like you a PI.
But you know,
why do you have $1,300,000 suits? Why are you playing pool? Why are you like? I need your character to be tighter, or I need an actor who is so believable as
that you just buy it.
That I just, like, I don't even think about it.
Right. Because the script itself, I mean, it's definitely of its time. It's not necessarily a wholly bad script, like, at least plot wise.
No, I think it's a solid, to your point, I think for a blaxploitation film, it's a pretty solid plot.
For a blaxploitation film, this is Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that you're talking about, you know, running a scam on people.
Right. The double crosses. And, you know, the details. Somebody's wearing a jacket that looks like this person's jacket. I said, okay, hold on, it's all right.
Yeah. I mean, the plot is there. Right. You know, the plot is there that if...
Then Robert Hooks comes in and wants to know where the NAACP dinner is this evening. Hey, baby, let's hit this town. Let's get out of this town.
And you don't even... Oh, God.
It's like, Mr. Hooks.
You just don't believe it, man. Like,
why are you doing this?
I would have believed Dolomite in this role more than Robert Hooks. It's a shame, and it's a waste of not bad performances.
Like it's always him walking down the street.
It's a lot of walking
with him in the suit, and he looks like he's a provost at like a college or something.
And then the movie stops for a good 5 minutes of him just jumping over gates.
You know, I was like, why do they have Mr. Hooks? Because I just call him Mr. Hooks. Why is Mr. Hooks jumping over things? He shouldn't be doing that.
And he jumps over about 20 of them in a row. It's like, it's really, really annoying.
Certainly, there's a Death of a Salesman revival going on.
Or isn't it pilot season?
Right.
Can't you show up on Sanford and Son?
Right.
They're doing things right now.
Or Room 222 or Julia.
Well, Julia's not on that.
Right.
But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Mod Squad. Something.
Where he's like, because I remember like Greg Morse used to be jumping around on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And it was like,
I don't even remember him on the man. I'm
Like,
Mission
what?
Impossible. That's
wait, maybe he was on Mission Impossible.
He was on Mission Impossible.
I'm sorry, he was on Mission Impossible. Shouldn't have Greg Morse jumping around. Like, you know what it is? Black men who were like them clean-shaven dudes in the 70s.
He was a clean-shaven dude.
Let them be positive role models for the black youth. Hello, children. I'm Robert Hooks. When I'm acting, I have to have a cool, clear head. So I lay off the smack. You should lay off the smack. This has been Robert Hooks.
And Bill Cosby.
Hey. So, I completely understand why this film vanished completely. And then, you know,
now I will
you
say,
kind of feel sorry for it because the soundtrack eclipsed it immediately.
yeah.
But I do think there was this arms race in the 70s, as I mentioned. I think once Shaft came, like Shaft really just threw down the gauntlet. And then Curtis Mayfield just kept coming and coming and coming. So it's like, you know, it's like James Brown in a year or two or right about now is going to do Black Caesar. And what I actually think the soundtrack has the most in common with, because as you mentioned, it's a lot of orchestral sort of just instrumental.
It's a score.
It's a score. It reminds me of what Donny Hathaway did with Come Back Charleston Blue.
Yes.
And it is just this wonderful soundscape that he makes. So, you know, I kind of felt sorry for the movie. It's like, it's a shame this kind of mediocre movie.
And that's the thing. It's
and then
mediocre.
You have this amazing soundtrack, and then you know, and I didn't find any actual documentation. But what I've like the apocryphal story that I've always heard is that Marvin Gaye quietly wanted to be in the movie.
Oh, really?
So if you look at I think the back of Trouble Man, the album, it's a picture of Marvin Gaye in like a leather jacket. Looking like a blaxploitation hero.
Oh, wow.
So, you know.
That's interesting. He probably has the look. I don't know about the chops acting wise.
I've never seen Marvin Gaye act, but wow, he looked good in that jacket. So it was like, I could watch a movie about this dude.
Couldn't have been much worse.
Right. So yeah, Trouble Man.
But I will say this, though. I did see on some lists that have listed Trouble Man as one of the worst movies of all time.
Oh,
it's not one of the worst movies of all time, folks.
Yeah, not
it's
at
not.
all.
That's not a fair assessment of it.
Not at all. I do think, unfortunately, as soon as you hear the song, you're set up for disappointment.
Unfortunately.
You know, it's like you and I have joked before about television shows like in my mind, The $6 Million Man has some of the greatest opening credits of all time.
It does.
But every episode is by default a little disappointing.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because it cannot live up to the credits.
It cannot.
So,
it cannot.
You know, there you go. But of course, the question that we always ask, would you recommend Trouble Man?
Yeah, go to your local record store or Spotify and get the Trouble Man soundtrack. It actually it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, you meant the movie?
I did mean the movie.
No. Don't watch the movie. Don't watch it with the replacement music. Don't watch it with the Marvin Gaye music. Just get the album and be your own Trouble Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think much like last week, this is a film that I think illustrates just sort of the level of negligence that the studios had with these films. Because again, I think Robert Hooks gets cast by a group of white men who just are looking for a black guy.
Yeah.
And you know, Robert Hooks, well, he's a tall,
Next on the call sheet.
He's a tall, good looking black guy. He grew his hair out in an afro.
You can trust him.
We look, he'll
show up on time.
He'll show up
He'll know his lines.
He is a professional.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll cast him.
Yep.
But yeah, I also would pass on Trouble Man.
Shame.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Look, go see Mr. Morrison, Mr. Hooks, and the many other projects that he's very good.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Before we tell you what we're going to be watching next week here on the Micheaux Mission, as we actually close out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Went fast.
It's action-packed.
I invite you, if you want to have your voices heard, email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. You can also find us on the social media of your choice, whether or not it be Instagram, X, or Facebook, at Micheaux Mission, where you can join the Facebook group and where we talk back and forth with our fans. You can also find us on YouTube at Micheaux Mission, where please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you are notified when we put up all of our new videos. I am going through all of our past videos, editing out just the video, top 5, some funny moments. We're going to be added a bunch last week. We'll be adding a bunch more this week, going up there. Our good friend Dylan here at YUNKJunk, he pulls shorts from every episode, and it all lives on YouTube. So we've got plenty of stuff out there. Tell a friend. You heard the Missionaries. Tell a friend about the Micheaux Mission. Go to Apple Podcasts, rate and review us. Review us on Spotify. Just spread the word of the Micheaux Mission. A lot of people ask, how can we help? How can you help us? That's how you can do it. And we appreciate all the help. The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work, such as ours, with streams every Tuesday night, live from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. If you want to book yourself sometime in one of the fabulous studios that they have here at YUNKJunk, then hit our good friend Dylan at YUNKJunk.com. That's DYLAN at YUNKJunk.com. All right, next week, we close out Action August with Vincent's Selection. Also from 1972. Folks, it's not only his name, it's his business. And sometimes his pleasure. Jim Brown is slaughter.
Jim Brown is slaughter.
That may be the baddest tagline of all time.
Well, let's see if it lives up to it.
Let's see. Next week here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, he's Vincent. I'm Len. That's Dylan. And in parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.
YUNKJunk!